Now, girl, was you sneaking and creeping when he was married, and that's how you seen the ring?
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
But then when we sang together, I just knew something was happening.
You guys were really controlled in the beginning, but then you received so much success.
I recall our first single, I had one line.
Ugh.
I was so unhappy that I was like, man, like, is there potentially like a way out? You know, there was a dark time in the group.
You ain't gotta go to work.
Baby, this is
Keke.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Period, Jared. Okay, today we have some listener emails to get into.
Okay.
Listeners submitted their, let's say, situations.
Okay.
And we, of course, are here to give our very much solicited advice. And as a reminder for all of you listening, if you need advice, which we all do, and we just sometimes want to talk about some things, you know, even if there's no advice, we can just discuss our thoughts, our feelings, no shade, no tea, no judgment zone ever. You can send it to us at the email of babythisiskekepalmer@amazon.com, or leave me a voicemail at 650-549-KEKE, and we'll try to help you out.
I love the whole solicited. Yes, let's make that clear.
Yes. Okay, number one. My boyfriend of 3 years proposed to me last weekend, and I'm beyond happy. But I wouldn't be writing into a podcast if that was the end of the story.
Uh-oh.
He proposed to me, but with this gorgeous ring that I know costs almost $10,000. Trust me, I looked it up. The thing is, this is the same ring he gave to his toxic ex-wife that we both can't stand. I love the ring, and I feel bad saying something since it's so expensive. But every time I wear it, it reminds me of her. I mean, it's technically picked out for someone else. Is there any right? Well, first of all, I need to know, how does she know? Okay. So
how does she know it was the same ring?
Right. I mean, I guess she was talking to him while he was with the ex-wife.
I don't know. But
now, girl, was you sneaking and creeping when he was married, and that's how you seen the ring? Look, I'm not asking too many deep questions. I just want to understand how she knew that it was that ex-wife's ring. However, in the case that she knows it's the ex-wife ring, I mean, it's not like he sold it and bought the same exact one. So it has to be he just saved
I'm trying
money.
to figure out, why did he get the ring back?
That's what I'm
How
thinking.
did he get it back? Because if he gave it to her and she was his wife, then I'm not giving no damn ring back.
I mean, and if he didn't pay the $10,000 off, does he have it because he has to keep up with the payments?
I don't know, but I just think
There's a lot going on
if he
here.
married her, then why does he even have the ring?
Yeah,
or did he
weird.
go spend another $10,000 and got the exact same ring?
I don't feel like he spent another $10,000 and buying the exact same ring. That could be the case, and if that's the case, then he has enough money to go there and exchange it
and get
for another ring.
Or he's very cheap.
Yeah, and he just passed over. But even then, if he's very cheap, sell that ring to a pawn shop.
Right.
I'm willing to get a cheaper ring that's my own.
Right. That's what she should say.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's she should say, look, I love this ring, but it's just bothering me that this was from a relationship
It doesn't feel unique.
Yes, it's not special enough for me. Yeah.
Right, look, I love it. I love that you spent a pretty dime, or that you didn't spend a pretty dime. I'm really confused on all of that.
Yeah, some of these questions need a little more detail.
Give me more background.
Right,
yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's safe to say we think that she should go and change that ring out.
Yes.
Yeah. Do what's best for you.
You want to start off a new marriage.
Not with bad juju.
Yeah, with good feelings, with, optimism, not, wondering why he gave this to me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Number 2. Hi, Keke. Help. I've been with my partner for almost a year, and I think he might even be the one.
Uh-oh.
My friends and family all love him. I get along with his parents. Woo. Keep him for life. The only thing is he's never introduced me to any of his friends. I've met his coworkers at an office party, but that's about it. Whenever it comes up, he just brushes it off and says all his old friends were jerks and that he's better off without them. I get moving on from friendships, but is that a red flag? No, that ain't no red flag.
I don't think so. I never have any friends. So your dad used to have so many friends, and I never had a lot of friends.
If he's the kind of guy that hangs out with his people from work and he hangs out with you, and that's all he needs, and that's all he needs. He might not have a bunch of friends.
And maybe they are jerks, like he said.
Cool with his parents. He likes to hang with his parents, and if he has siblings, maybe them too. But he said all his old friends were jerks, so I believe him.
I think this is a case of someone looking for something wrong.
Yeah, be happy.
You know, sometimes you just can't be happy. You're looking, okay, he loves my parents. They get along. He's a nice guy. He could be the one, but I've never met his friends. Okay. All right, well, maybe you guys can make new friends together.
And this is the thing. I would have been alarmed if she said I ever met his friends, and he's always with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would have felt like, okay, wait a minute, that's a red flag, because why is he with these people, but you're never meeting them?
Right.
But it doesn't even sound like he's spending time with, she's just wondering why he don't got any friends, period.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and then he made like he's, going through a transition, that they're jerks, and he's maturing, and he doesn't want to be around them.
Yeah, I think if he's not kicking it with that person, then why would you be meeting them?
Right.
That's my thought.
I agree. These are simple.
Yeah.
We're just breezing through these.
Yeah, we're breezing through these. Yeah. Number 3, is a cheater always a cheater? I met this guy who I found out was in a long-term relationship with a woman for about 3 years until he cheated on her. Mm-hmm. I really like this guy, and most people who I've talked to don't seem that hung up on the cheating. But I'm worried that the same thing that happened to his ex could happen to me. As of now, he has no idea I even know what happened. Any advice? Well, that's interesting. I came into this thinking that he told you he had cheated.
Right.
So now I'm finding out that you found out he cheated.
Was a cheater and he doesn't even know it.
But he didn't tell you.
Right.
Yeah, that's a bit
Okay,
stupid.
well, let's address the first thing. Is a cheater always a cheater? I don't think anyone is always anything. I think someone is capable of change.
I would like to believe that.
I would think, but having said that, I think people keep doing what they get away with doing. If he hasn't had any consequences from cheating and he continues to do what he wants to do, yes, he will continue to cheat.
Yeah, well, the thing is with that whole change thing is like somebody's got to want to change it. Right. And if they do get consequences, like for instance, if someone cheats on you and you break up with them, sometimes they know that they're not going to not be able to cheat again. So they'll just find someone else that can tolerate it. That's the thing with I think with some of these things that are hard lines for others is that there's somebody that might be all right with it. Right. So as long as there's somebody that's all right with it and that person is okay with you being out of their life, they'll just find somebody else to do whatever you're telling them that they can't do. Right. So, I mean, I don't necessarily want to say that I think that people are always certain ways, but unless somebody really just can't live without you, they'll just find somebody, you know what I mean?
They'll find someone else that will accommodate their lifestyle.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's how I feel on that front. But for your particular situation, I think it's two things. Yeah. She's asking us, should I believe that he's going to cheat on me just because because he's cheated on somebody else? I think that is always an option.
Right.
I think if you're going to date somebody that has cheated in their past, it's just like if you have dated somebody who has their relationship, ended because they worked a lot, then they have the tendency to work a lot. They have a tendency to possibly step out. It's not outside of their character.
Right.
So I think it's not outside of this man's character to cheat. So you shouldn't be surprised if he did.
Do you think she should tell him? I am aware of
I think she could
your
ask the
behavior
question.
In the past.
They can have a 21 question scenario. Have you ever cheated? And see if he lies.
Yeah, that's
what I mean. Just ask the question. That's stuff that you ask people when you first start dating them anywhere. So, why'd your last relationship end? Or but I wouldn't ask that. I would not, because he'll make it about something else.
Right.
You need to be direct. Don't ask that man, why'd your last relationship end? He'll hit you with she was crazy. Ask that man, has he ever cheated before?
Right.
If he says no, then he really has not done the work. But if he says he has, then I think
there may be some redeeming qualities.
There might be some redeeming qualities. Maybe it was something in his youth. Let's see what his responses are. But I will say this. If you're dating somebody and they've cheated on somebody before, the possibility of them cheating on you is always there. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you don't have to give them a chance and give them an opportunity. Yeah. Date them if you want to date them. What did they say? Tomorrow's fears or whatever don't take away, don't stop anything from happening. It just takes away today's happiness. So I think if you decide to be with this person, knowing that you can get hurt. You know what I mean? Because that, by the way, whether it's cheating, whether it's leaving you, breaking up with you, whether it's falling out of love with you, whether it's, just doing anything,
right?
Somebody that you love is always going to be capable of hurting you.
Yeah.
So I think you're always doing a free-for-all when you decide to love somebody.
Right.
So, yeah.
But you got to know that that's, that you did it for the right reasons. So you can't ever feel sad that you gave someone your heart because you did it for the right reasons, right? And if they misuse it and they betray you or they do whatever, that's on them.
That's right.
That's something they're going to have to give accountability to.
That's right.
So.
Yeah. So that's what I say. I say, hey, go for it. If you want to go for it, I do think you should ask that question. But if you love the guy and you want to give the guy a chance, know that he's he's a flawed human like we all are. And he could hurt you, whether it's cheating or not. But if it's worth it to give love a try, what is it saying? It's better to have loved than not at all.
We always get all these relationship questions, and people are really looking for love, huh?
Sharon.
And
people
looking
are out
for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah, people really are looking for love. It's not that easy to catch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's always love questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think people change in a relationship? Like you date someone for 5 years, and then on the 6th year, they totally look like a totally different person. Do you think it's possible for someone to be dormant, to like really be this other person secretly, or do you think they evolve and change?
I think that you got to be seeing stuff.
So there are signs.
I think there are signs, but I think, to answer your first question of do I think people could change, I think it's that makes people ignore the signs. People move past signs because they think, well, and then people say, I'm going to change, or I can change. You know what I mean? So then when those red flags show up, people are thinking, this is going to change, this can get better. And I'm not sure, Mom. I'm not sure if people can actually change. I think I was raised to believe that. Obviously I have a Christian background. So, you want to believe that people can change, people can grow, people can evolve. But it requires such a high level of accountability to change. And it also requires you to face a lot of things. Like in order to be who you want to be in life, you got to be quite courageous and brave. So can a person that's a coward not be a coward anymore? I'm not sure. That you're asking for somebody to get a complete personality makeover. If I don't have courage, I'm going to have to do a lot of work to find it. And what it takes to find the courage to be a better person, I already don't have the skills
to get
there.
Yeah.
So I was just
wondering, because I hear, and I've had friends in the past, they were like, he was the best husband the first 3 years. And then he turned into an asshole. It's like, okay, wasn't he an asshole those other 3 years? Or can someone just wake up and I'm a different person today?
I do think mental disruptions are real.
Okay.
I do think in the first 3 years of our relationship, he was at the top of his job and he lost it.
Okay, so
or she lost it, or we tried to have kids, we couldn't have kids, or
something happens.
I do believe that traumatic experiences can make can trigger something, but usually you would be able to. Usually you would be able to tell that. Somebody would say.
We were doing good until we couldn't have kids.
Right. We were doing good until X, Y, and Z happened. I do believe that trauma can change people, but see, I think that's different from. Because see, what you're talking about with that is...
I'm just talking about straight up duplicity. Someone who is just goes into a whole nother, is that mental illness?
So what I'm saying is that, what I'm trying to point out is that I think you're talking about two different things, which is one, the scenario where something traumatic happens in 3 years and they become someone new, they already weren't that person. Right. The trauma is what triggered something. So I do believe that person can change back.
Right. Okay.
The other thing you're saying is, can someone change? If someone is already showing those kind of qualities to begin with, that there's no traumatic event that created that. Outside of whatever they experienced in their childhood, I'm not sure that they could change because they have nothing to change back to.
Got it. Okay.
If I'm already at level 0 and I get to level 10, the only place I can go back to is 0. I can't, but if I'm at 10 and I went to 0 for a minute, then I can go back to 10.
Right.
But you can't go back to where you never were, I don't think.
Right. There are certain things in your life that can happen to you that can change you. And you can also lose people that were your anchor,
Right.
Like a mom or a dad or someone that just really could calm you down,
Yeah.
That you listen to, that's a mentor. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, I think that people talk about that a lot with Kanye as well and his mom and that relationship. But I think the interesting part of it all is also just kind of like, because I'm a person that really truly believes that anybody in life that is, kind of doing harmful things to themselves or others is somebody that has gone through trauma. But I'm no therapist. However, I do feel like like if it happened in your childhood, the work that has to be done to uncover and to get you back to from being that wounded child is just really hard and difficult.
Yeah, and the relationship that
it's a lot of shadow work.
And the relationship that Kanye had with his mom was a beautiful relationship.
It was. I think she really was, like you were saying, a foundation for him.
Yeah.
A rock. Life is difficult, man, but I think the main thing is like when it comes to us having the kind of lives we want, it's like a constant battle that you're always having of trying to be real. You got to really be real with yourself. I remember people used to always ask me, what's your biggest fear? And I'm like, not growing. That was always my biggest fear, is to like actually be deluded by myself, so much so that I'm not really clear on what's happening in my life.
Right.
And I'm not really aware of the habits that I'm putting in my life and in my world that are keeping me stagnant. I think that's the most like horrifying thing. You know what I mean? Because I don't think anybody is actively being a negative person and knows it. No one knows it. Right. And so the work that you have to do to constantly catch yourself.
Right, but you are one of the most honest people, very much like your dad. You're one of the most honest persons that I know that will call yourself out. You know what I mean? You'll say, well, I'm not doing, I didn't do this well, or I could have done that better.
I just don't want to be doomed.
Yeah.
I don't want to be doomed. You have one life to live. I do truly want to be happy. You know what I mean? I think happiness is like a constant thing, right? You're not going to be happy all the time. You have to be sad because then that's what makes you know what happy is. But I really don't. Like, I really want to, I love myself. So I really want to try and have the best life that I can have. And that really calls you to be accountable.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you can get there and you can do it. Yeah. But let me get into this conversation with Ally Brooke, see what she's talking about.
Baby, this is Keke.
My guest today is multi-talented. She's a singer. She's the author of her own memoir. And she's the host of the podcast, The Ally Brooke Show. She's been outspoken about her experience as a member of the hit girl group Fifth Harmony and her journey to becoming a solo artist. I mean, she's just the coolest. Please welcome to the show, Ally. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, Keke. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to have you on the show.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. I have to tell you, okay, so my nephew loves you. He watched Sesame Street and the old MacDonald had a farm. I really love you.
Oh, my gosh. I love him, too. How old is he?
He's 1.5. He loves
he's just a little bit older than my little boy.
Oh, so cute.
I don't think my son really cared about Sesame Street yet. I tried to show him my episode, and he was very much unfazed.
Oh, really? We just love you, and I just want to just thank you for giving that to my nephew. You brought him joy, so thanks for that. You brought us all joy.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Ally. That is literally the sweetest thing ever. I'm excited to have you on the show today because I feel like we're in a weird time when it comes to girl groups. Like, I think Fifth Harmony was probably the last extremely popular girl group that I can think of recent days. And obviously we have boy bands. We have Backstreet Boys. I mean, we have One Direction, NSYNC, Jonas Brothers, the list goes on. But it seems like girl groups are sometimes hard to maintain or keep or groups in general, I'll even say, are hard to maintain. And since you have been in one, what do you think is the most difficult part about, groups sustaining?
Yes. I think an important thing is you have to listen to each other, and you have to be prepared for what you're about to get into. I think no one can prepare you for the craziness of the business and the craziness of the ride that you're on. But I think just being able to kind of withstand it and do what you can is my advice to like the next group.
What was some of the most exciting aspects of being in a group that you've learned is different from being a solo artist?
Oh, again, it kind of ties into, you have to be in tune with each other, you have to be in sync, no pun intended. uh,
Hilarious.
and you have to just be in a rhythm together because you're a group, so you have to make sure everything's
Mhm.
like balanced and you know your role, you know what to do. When it's your turn, you gotta own it and shine. But being on your own, you get to have full control of your artistry and you call the shots. So it's not like you have to go by everyone else's opinions. You can just be on your own. You're your own judge in a way.
I'm so curious of the control that you even have in a girl group because, like, we look at Destiny's Child, and it was always very much so like even though it was the girls in the group, it was very much so what Matthew Knowles wanted. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or you'll look
Yeah.
at with some of the K-pop artists, it's kind of like I don't know who controls the K-pop artists, but it definitely doesn't necessarily seem that it's solely what the artists themselves wants that are part of the group. It's kind of
Yes.
like the entity that's above them that kind of has curated the group and has put it together. And so I'm wondering, like with Fifth Harmony, was it really that you guys had an opportunity to kind of be collaborative in like a, I don't know, Beatles sort of way? Or was it a lot of, kind of like a higher up scenario that put you guys together that you had to listen to?
Oh, yes. So it was definitely the higher ups, the label. The label had full control of everything.
Mm.
And that was really hard at sometimes it was really, really hard because you want to be able to be in those decisions and be able to make those calls. So that was hard sometimes. But towards the end of Fifth Harmony, we were able to like actually write and actually, you know, pick
Oh.
some of the records and be involved. So it was only towards the end we had that control.
And it's so cool. It's so like I think people when they think about the record industry, there's so many different versions and avenues. Like you can have a situation like a Billie Eilish, especially in nowadays where you're found and kind of people are cool with whatever your system is. So the interesting thing is about it is what I think what you're talking about, even though we're talking about girl groups or just groups in general, that is kind of sometimes how the music industry is, right? It's like you'll get in a label system. I know for me, even as a solo artist, I got into the label system and, really always was very resistant to trying to do things the way that they wanted me to, especially because
Yeah,
sometimes the music would be different from what I wanted. And
totally.
it really made my experience with music difficult. But
Mm,
then when you look at a situation like yours with Fifth Harmony, you guys were really controlled in the beginning,
we
but then
were.
you received so much success from kind of doing things the way that you were in many ways forced to do. How did you guys kind of process that, right? Like, okay, I'm not able to be the kind of artist that maybe I'm thinking I want to be, or I'm not able to find myself. And then at the same time, in listening to these people, I'm actually receiving a lot of success.
Yes. It was crazy. It really was. Just being able to kind of, feed the beast in a way and
Right.
just being able to just say, you know what, we're going with the ride and it ended up working, like it could have easily not worked, but it worked. It was
Mm-hmm.
something that, changed everything for us. So we had to,
Yeah.
it was like a give and take for sure. And we had to learn that. And, at the end of the day, it worked. So that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Because I wonder, because like you said, some people, they have these situations where it's like, I listened to the label and I wasn't myself and it didn't happen until I found my own voice.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if through that process, you felt like you were receiving some levels of artist development and you were able to, I don't know, did you guys feel like you were learning from some of the choices that the label were making?
I think so. I think, trusting the label, especially when it worked, was good for us. They had a plan, they had a vision. Even though it was not, consistently, nice all the time and they weren't
Yeah.
respectful all the time. And they definitely were divisive at times. It worked and we had to kind of just go and smile and wave.
So when you obviously when the group disbanded and you guys are all doing your solo thing, Was it difficult kind of having, or was it great to have the freedom to make all those choices, or did you find yourself kind of being like, man, it was kind of cool when somebody, told me that, was kind of decisive on what it should be? Because sometimes when you're the only one making the choices, it can be a lot of different choices to make. Was there a moment of being overwhelmed by all the decisions that you had to make, considering, you had more of a balance of help? Or maybe when you got into your next situation, you had that same support. I'm not sure. I'm just curious what the difference would have been for you coming from such a supported and kind of structured scenario to kind of having a free-for-all to do whatever you wanted.
Yes. For me, my personal experience after the group ended, it was liberating to be my own artist and to be able to make my own decisions. And, even down to, you think of like hair and makeup, like even
Yeah.
down to those, like we didn't really get to pick even that. So being able to, I know, it was hard, and we had like majority rule system, and some people, loved certain styles and some people didn't.
Oh.
And it was a lot. It was a lot of give and take for sure. But so that's why being on my own, even down to what I was wearing, my styling, was something that was so nice to have that freedom to just be who I wanted to be and be my own artist. That was my experience.
Yeah, I love that. Now, when you first did X Factor, you were coming on as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Then obviously they folded you guys into the group. I mean, when you guys said yeah and you were like, hey, we're going to be the next new big group, did you feel the pressure? Were you anxious, or were you excited? Did you know you were going to nail it because of who you had behind you? Kind of what were those beginning thoughts of like being the next, kind of push to be the next big girl group before you actually guys became that next big girl group?
Yes, I felt that pressure for sure, especially being the older one. And actually, right when we were formed, after we were formed, Simon pulled me to the side and he said, "You are the glue who holds the group together." And
What?
yes. And I was like, oh my God, what? Like, that was such an amazing thing for him to say. And that was it was like a crown that he was giving me.
So wait, why did he know that, and how did he know that? Just watching your dynamic with the girls?
I think he just saw that in me, and probably because I was the older one too. I think he saw me throughout the competition, and he saw like my tenacity and just the way I carried myself. And then being the older one, I think all of that, he was like, he just saw it in me, and that was remarkable. It really was. And so there was pressure, but then when we sang together, I just knew something was happening. Like, I felt something.
Wow.
It was crazy. It really was. Just to know that you had something in your hands.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so exciting, especially for you have to have that awareness. And I just, you're a Cancer too, right?
Yes, I am.
So yeah, that's that Cancer energy. They're always gonna bring everybody together. They have that mothering energy. They're nurturing. So that definitely aligns. Well, speaking of some of the more difficult dynamics with a girl group is, and I mean, it's the same thing with guy groups too, but I think it's so much different when it's women. Is just like
Oh yeah.
I have a favorite gag. You know what I mean? Like, who's the favorite? Who's the this? Who's the that? Everybody kind of, makes up in their mind kind of this identity for each singer in the group. Were you guys aware of this dynamic, or did you guys kind of stay off socials? Like, where did you stand when it came to just some of the competitive nature that even the fans put upon you?
Yes, there was that, like there was different like fandoms and different like social media like things kind of like going around. So there was comparison. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really difficult because, you want to just be yourself and you want to be represented. And sometimes that wasn't the case, sometimes like I recall our first single, I had one line, literally one line. And it was like 3 words or something. And I was so like humiliated, and like people were commenting online that, like, oh, Ally wasn't good enough or whatever. And that was difficult in the beginning for sure. 'Cause you're like, you want to be out there and you want to be seen. But eventually that like faded, and I feel like everyone got their moment to shine. So that was really nice, you know, is later on how I felt I definitely was represented in the group and I had my moments.
Oh my goodness. I mean, in the midst of all of that, how do you feel like it affected your relationship with the girls? I mean, obviously they're probably all having their own versions of that because
Yes.
as always with groups, there's someone that gets a lot and then there is, you know, everything seems sparse. So I'm sure you and the other girls are thinking the same things. Were there moments where you guys could actually at least be honest and lean into each other about that and share that? Or was it kind of like, this is work and, you know, I have to be a professional and I don't want to share my grievances?
It was kind of both, but it was really more, I think it was known, but it wasn't really like that talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in some, I'm trying to like recall. I think some instances it was talked about, but it was kind of overlooked. It was kind of just more like
Right.
just go on with the show type of thing. So that was hard, but you know, just kind of hoping that things would get better is what I had to hold on to in that moment.
Yeah, so you kind of just really thought about just like persevering in the moment. And do
Yeah.
you think that that came from your belief that it was worth staying in the group for? I mean, I'm sure you were
Oh, yeah.
contractually bounded, but I guess were you genuinely focused like just on the future or were you like, well, I got to stick this out because I'm contractually bound?
Well, actually, for a moment, I actually thought about that because
Yeah, right.
I was so unhappy that I was like, man, like, is there potentially like a way out? You know, there was a dark time in the group. But I persevered. I tried to look at the future. I didn't want to let anyone down, especially the fans. And that was my motivation.
And you guys went everywhere together. I mean,
We
I remember
did.
seeing, I mean, you guys were like all over America, but you guys were also all over the country. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that was insane to actually see. And you actually worked with one of my really good friends, Taylor Parks.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I love
Yeah.
her. She's amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, she is amazing. When you guys would be coming up with your records, obviously everyone has reference points. What were some of the main because when I do think about Fifth Harmony, you guys did have your own curated sound. Obviously, there are, you know, I'm sure there are references or thoughts, or let's do this kind of beat. But even with all of the inspiration, you guys really did create your own sound. What were some of the main groups that you guys kind of like when you were, you know, crafting your group, or when the people that we were working with were crafting your group? What were they mixing? Like, was it a little bit of Spice Girls? Was it a little bit Destiny's Child? Or was
Oh
it a little
yes.
bit, you know, what was kind of the North Star, I should say?
We loved Destiny's Child. Like loved Destiny's Child. We would play them all the time. And those were kind of our influences as far as like our voices and our harmonies. And the Spice Girls were our inspirations too for just like that you know, the
Character.
individuality in the characters. And we wanted to be like them. I can recall when we got formed, I was like, we have to be the next Spice Girls. I hope we're the next Spice Girls. That was my like vision for us.
Oh my gosh, I love the Spice Girls because it's kind of like what I see a lot with the K-pop groups is like they have actual television shows and they have actual like reality things
Yes.
that, you know, I think that's in terms of just like artistry, branding, storytelling, I think it's really brilliant. And I do think we got a lot of that with you guys with X Factor because we kind of saw you mature and become who you are, and then obviously social media plays a part, but I totally agree with you. Like when I think about girl groups that like truly made an impact to me outside of obviously Destiny's Child, but when we're thinking about theatrics and the character and just that extra, you know, just marketing, is like Spice Girls were one of the big groups that just did it the freaking best.
Oh yes, 1,000,000%. I mean, they're amazing. Like I still love them, and they're one of the goats.
Yeah, it's for sure. Now, when you were in a group, obviously that was one thing, and then you became a solo artist, a successful solo artist. What did you find the experiences to be different from how people treated you in the industry coming out of Fifth Harmony to being a solo artist? Was it, I mean, and maybe it changed. Maybe in the beginning it was like, oh my gosh, she's about to be a solo artist, I'm hype. Or maybe it was like, oh, she's being a solo artist. I don't know if that's, you know, what kind of was that transition like?
Well, initially, when the group was over, I was it was liberating to be able to be like, okay, I get to be my own artist. But finding my home was hard. I actually got turned
Mm.
down by a lot of labels, and that was such a hard time for me.
Surprising to me as well.
Thanks. I
Hmm.
I really I thought, being from, one of the most popular girl groups, that it would be easy, right? To just like find a home.
Hmm.
But it wasn't. So I really had to prove myself. And finally I found, my record label. Finally I found my team. And it was so amazing after that. Like, people were excited to work with me and to be part of my project. And we were just like formulating things. So that was exciting for sure.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
I know you have spoken a lot about just like the pressure of being in a girl group, the high demand, some of the just how the industry, which I know from personal experience, can be extremely just toxic and just a lot. I don't think there's really any words to express how, because I've done music, but then I also do acting, and acting can be stressful, but music is a whole different beast.
Oh, music is a whole different beast, just like you said.
It really is, to the point where it's like no way to really put it into words because it doesn't really, it's not unionized. So everybody can really get away with doing even more, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What for you, and for all of you, because I imagine it must have been all of you at separate times or at the same time, or maybe the contract was up, I'm not sure. What was the straw that broke the camel's back, that when you guys realized that you didn't want Fifth Harmony to be around for 15 years or 10 years, and you definitely all wanted to do something solo? What, because it can be, because Fifth Harmony, you guys disbanded at your height.
I know. And actually, I was angry for a long time. Like, I really was like,
Oh.
why are we breaking up? No, it's not happening. We have so much more to give. And I think I said that too. But, we weren't getting like support from the label. The label was giving up on us. And, and then like some of the girls just kind of thought it was time. So I couldn't, argue with that. And I had to be respectful of like, the others' feelings. And, it was a journey for everyone, and a process. And at the end of the day, that was kind of happening, that all spiraled. So that kind of is what happened.
Dang. Do you think there's any world where you guys would get back together again, or that you would be in a girl group again?
Well, not we're all, but but we are like inch by inch reuniting. Not like in a
In a group.
official reunion, just like relationship wise.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yes, and I just reunited with Dinah, and in fact, I did a collab with her on my holiday EP. So we just collabed. So that's like something that's so amazing and so meaningful to me. And who knows what could happen? Like, really, like, who knows what could happen in the future? But I'm just
oh my gosh.
I know, I'm just so glad to like have that be happening, and then have me and Dinah. We're kind of we're doing our thing. It's really magical.
It is really magical to see. And sometimes those breaks are necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Why do you think the judges put you guys in a group? Knowing that you guys came to be individual artists, what was it that maybe it's a couple of things. What was it that you thought it was, and what was it that you found out that it was, the reason was?
You know what? I have no idea. No clue. Like, I don't know what they saw. I'm not sure what was in their heads, but for some reason they picked us, and that's what became Fifth Harmony. And even now I'm not sure of that answer. I would love to ask like Simon, but that's actually something I will ask him someday. But
right, I'm so curious because that was a big shock, but boy did it work. I mean, they really do know, Well, Ally, I loved our conversation so much, and I definitely know our listeners did too. I'm such a fan of yours. I'm always rooting for you. But before we wrap things up, we like to end with a game here on Baby This is Keke Palmer. Is that okay with you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so today we're doing quickies with Keke, where I'll ask you a series of rapid fire questions, and all you have to do is answer honestly. All right, which Fifth Harmony song do you like more? Work From Home or Worth It?
Oh, I have to say Worth It.
Worth It. For me, you ain't gotta go to work. That
Yes,
video
I mean,
ate
I
down
love it
too.
It has to be. It's close call.
Okay, would you rather have dinner with Frank Sinatra or Audrey Hepburn?
Oh my God, those are my favorites. Who told you?
Of course, we did our research over here.
Who told you? Oh my God, I just can't, Keke. I can't. Can I do both?
For you, I'll do both. Okay, you have to pick one franchise to live without. Hallmark movies or Disney Channel original movies.
Okay, are you serious?
Now that's a hard one.
Are you trying to kill me? Oh man.
Oh yes.
Can't to live without?
To live without.
Oh no. Do I have to pick? Do both again?
You have to pick. I already gave you a pass on the Frank Sinatra and the Audrey Hepburn.
You did. Oh man. Oh my God. Maybe. I mean, those both are my favorites. Oh my God. I'll just say Disney original. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say. So you're saying Disney is to live without, right? Because I think Disney is like our history, right? But Hallmark, we're moving into that Hallmark age. We're gonna need those Hallmark movies to take us through, Ally.
Right? Yes.
Okay, which do you prefer, singing in Spanish or singing in English?
Oh, I love both, but I would have to say singing in Spanish just because of my culture, my heritage.
Oh, yes. And also, everything sounds so sexy in Spanish. You know what I mean? I'm just going to say, you could be saying, like, you ripped my heart out and I would never be the same. And it just sounds like we're making love. This is the last one. Who would you rather collab with? This is about to really, really piss you off.
Oh, no.
Cher or Jennifer Lopez?
Okay. You're killing me, girl. Oh my God. Okay, if I had to pick, I have to say J-Lo. That's my girl.
Come on, because period. I love me some Cher down. But Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, that is my girl.
Two Latinas, let's go.
Period. Thank you so much, Ally. I appreciate you for hanging out with me. I wish we had even a little bit more time, but it's fine. We'll just have to do a real date.
Yes, we will. Please, like anytime. I seriously love you. You're just so amazing. And thanks for having me. Mwah.
As per usual, that was a fun one, wasn't it? I mean, I'm not exactly surprised. Anyway, thanks for joining me today, and hopefully next week too. That's all for now, but don't stress. I'll have more for you soon, because you know it's your girl.
Baby, this is Keke.